the Tri-State's home for sports and news. Local and live, covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk Tri-State with Tiny and Katie.
Welcome to Friday and welcome to the first day of November. Welcome to Let's Talk Tri-State with Tiny and Katie, all powered by Home Right Windows and Doors. The right choice winner in the 2024 Best of the Tri-State. How was your trick-or-treat last night with little Reagan?
It was warm.
It was
very
warm?
warm. She was sweating about 10 minutes into it. She was the pink Power Ranger.
Amy Jo Johnson.
Yeah, and had the mask didn't last. Mm-hmm. The mask was the first thing to go, and she lasted every year. She lasts longer than the year before. So like last year when we did it, I think she would lasted maybe 30 minutes, if that, 45 minutes. This year, pretty much up until the end.
8 o'clock?
Yeah, well, no, our development really doesn't, I'd say probably by a little after 7:15.
I'm sure. You have a big development. I'm sure the candy runs out very quickly.
Yeah, well, I think the kids run out. Because it's like they come through and, did it bother you or does it bother you when people who are not from your area suddenly come in to do the trick-or-treating?
No one has been to my house for trick-or-treating since I was growing up in high school.
Well,
no one has ever come to my house.
Let me rephrase. Have you ever heard that? Has someone complained about that?
Yeah, like the better candy neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. Or maybe if you live out in a rural area, you'll go to a closer development so that you can still participate. Because if you live out in the country,
sure, yeah.
What are you going to walk mile between each house and get like 2 pieces of candy?
You better hope it's good.
Or you could do like trunk or treat nights. I mean, there are other alternatives, but I can definitely understand. You want to participate. It's the camaraderie. It's fun. But
I'm convinced that people bus kids into our development.
They might. I mean, they might. It makes me sad because I just stopped buying candy. Where my apartment is now, nobody comes to my apartment. And when
including men.
No. Sorry, good one.
I had to.
And when I lived in Winchester, where my townhouse was, nobody really came back there because there were only like 12 of us back there.
Really?
Nobody went there. And then before, I lived in just apartments here and there, and nobody would come trick-or-treating. So
that's weird that the townhome development that you were in, because there's only 12 back there altogether?
There were 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 right where we are, and then there are some neighboring ones. But I think everybody from there goes to the bigger developments. And so I used to buy candy, and now I just don't anymore.
Buy it for yourself.
And I don't have any kids, so it makes me sad. It's just been so long since I was able to participate in trick-or-treating.
Well, look, you
had the option.
Auntie Katie did disappoint Reagan because she asked about you again. She was thinking that you were going to come and see her and help pass out candy at her house for trick-or-treat, and you had to get your hair done instead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, make sure that you tell her next year. And I mean it.
Okay. Well, don't let her down again.
Well, today is going to be sunny skies, high of 73, and then tomorrow, sunny again, high 61, and then a look ahead to your Sunday, sunny again, high 61. So we are cooling off a bit, but we are keeping that sunshine. Today is National Cook for Your Pets Day, so if you want to spoil little Cookie or spoil little Rover, or what are popular dog names?
Sparky, Bingo.
There you go, and Bingo, that's a good
Spike.
one. You cook them a nice little meal with maybe some chicken and rice.
Winnie,
I don't think is an overly common animal name.
Still your animal's name.
I mean, yes, I don't know why I went to Cookie and Rover. But
I can't cook for Reese. She can't eat it.
She has
She's
so many
allergic to everything.
allergies.
Yeah.
Well,
she's like that. She's like that kid in school who has the glasses and was kind of nerdy. Like, it's always represented in movies. And this kid has every allergy known to man and can't do anything and practically bubble boy. That's basically what Reese is.
But would you cook for your dog if you could?
No.
Yeah, I love Winnie, but I'm not gonna. The most, first of all, I don't even cook for myself.
Yeah.
But when I get rotisserie chicken, I do give her some of that, and that's about it.
Dogs, pets. We may say that they are picky in certain ways, like, well, Winnie might only eat wet food versus dry food. I get all that. But by and large, they don't care about taste.
And honestly, if they're hungry enough, they'll eat whatever you give them.
Well, as evident by, dogs will, there are certain things that they'll eat that I'm just like, so they're not that picky.
Yeah.
So me cooking I'm not going to spend the time, I'm not going to cook better for the dog than me.
Well, I mean, if you do like to cook for your pet, today's the day to celebrate that. It's also National Authors Day. I found some very interesting facts about famous writers that I thought might blow your mind a little bit.
Okay.
In Key West, Sloppy Joe's Bar, which I've been to before in Key West, hosts an Ernest Hemingway look-alike contest each year, which lasts 3 days because he once lived in Key West. And I told you about the Ernest Hemingway house with the six-toed cats. But Sloppy Joe's Bar I did go to before. That's very popular down there, but they do a look-alike contest. According to his daughter, this one's kind of gross, but according to his daughter's memoir, J.D. Salinger would often speak in tongues and drink his own urine.
Not two things that typically go together?
No, definitely not.
Having grown up in a church where people would speak in tongues, I never saw the other half of that.
Did you see people speak in tongues?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
What are they speaking?
Oh, well, my goodness, Katie.
Greek?
We could go into... it can be a very deep dive into the Bible. So
maybe we just don't do that right now.
Well, just because I'm not prepared for it, but yeah.
I've always been curious about it. I've seen it in scary movies, but nothing I've ever experienced in real life. I don't think I'd be able to tell if someone was speaking in tongues or pig Latin. I feel like I would just not be able to tell the difference.
Quite the comparison. Oh, Ordley, Essex Blay, oh, Yamene. Not quite like that.
Stephen King's drug and alcohol intake was so intense during the 80s, he has no memory of writing the book Cujo.
Wow.
That is my favorite. Have you ever read Cujo?
I have, and I've seen the movie, and I wasn't really high on either one.
I loved the book. It's one of my favorite books I've ever read.
Have you ever read The Stand?
No.
Have you ever seen the book, physically seen the book?
Is there a light going down the tunnel?
Forget about that.
Okay.
It is, it's thick.
Oh,
It is a whole lot of pages. And there was a girl, and I will never forget, every year in high school, there was a time of the year where she would be reading that book. Now, she was an avid reader, but that was her favorite book. She loved it so much that she would read it once a year.
It'd probably take me a year to get through it.
I was flabbergasted at how many pages, and I love to read, and I was like, I don't know, that's a big commitment.
Have you read that one?
I know I have not. No,
absolutely. I like Stephen King. I love his movies. I love Pet Sematary and some of his other movies.
I love The Green Mile.
That kills me.
It's a great book.
Yeah.
They killed him, yeah.
Oh.
Well, they did.
I mean, they did, but Cujo was a great book, one of my favorites. Dan Brown tried his hand at music as a solo pop singer before launching his writing career. And following tragic childhood events that culminated in her mother's boyfriend's death, Maya Angelou, am I saying the last name correct? Angelou, thank you. Refused to speak for 5 years because she believed that her words were to blame.
Wow.
And a dear friend of mine is an author, a writer, and he really looks up to the famous authors that we know of. But he's always told me that a lot of these writers had very troubling lives.
Lots of issues.
Lots of drugs, alcohol, trauma, lots of...
And the ones that are most well known.
Well, do you know the woman who wrote The Bell Jar, Sylvia Plath? Do you know how she died?
I don't.
She stuck her head in the oven.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
That's how she killed herself.
How do you even do that?
I don't know.
How do you have the ability to
stay?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not something I actually really think I want to think about. But anyway, happy National Authors Day.
Who's your favorite author of all time?
Oh. You go.
John Grisham.
John Grisham is good. The Pelican Brief, is that Grisham?
Pelican Brief, the
Client.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, those were all great. I don't know.
Okay.
Can I think about that and come back
of
to
course.
it? I really like, I read a lot of psychological thrillers, and I'm really into a woman named Frida McFadden. I don't know if you've ever heard of her. Her books are so easy to read. I like R.L. Stein.
So Dr. Seuss.
I know that R.L. Stein is more for kids, but that's what got me into reading were those books, the Goosebumps books.
Sure.
So it's a little nostalgic for me.
There's I cannot think of her name, but I also like the woman who wrote Gone Girl and
Yep.
Sharp Objects, Dark Places, I believe. I read all of them, but she's very good. I like her style a lot.
I'm drawing a complete blank on that one.
Well, continue. I'm going to look. I can't look it up.
Back on this day, November 1st, 512 years ago, Michelangelo's masterpiece on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel was unveiled after more than 4 years of working on his back. I've seen it. I've actually been there and seen it.
I would love to see that in person.
It's pretty unbelievable. It's pretty unbelievable. 420 years ago, Shakespeare's Othello was first presented at Whitehall Palace in London. Have you ever seen the Josh Hartnett movie called O?
No.
It's like a modern day Othello, but the storyline's the same. It's really dark. It's very dark. 224 years ago, our second president, John Adams, became the first president to move into the White House.
I did know that.
And it was 130 years ago in 1894, Billboard Advertising magazine was first published, and it only cost 10 cents. 127 years ago, there's a lot of older historic things that happened on this day. The Library of Congress opened to the public. 111 years ago, Notre Dame beat Army 35-15 at West Point thanks to the Irish's new secret weapon, the forward pass. Do you know, does that ring any?
It's just a pass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know much about football. It was 88 years ago, the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association was founded. And so a lot of things that happened historically on this day, November 1st. And let's talk about what's going to be happening on our show here November 1st.
We are jam-packed today.
We have Local News 1 coming in, sharing some headlines.
Dan Donona will be here.
Sharing some news headlines. We have the Franklin County Literacy Council, Rick Germain, who has a crime drama called Serious Profession. Mm-hmm. I've seen clips of it. It's pretty good. It's really intense. And the Adams County Winery.
Oh, we've been waiting. Are they our last guest today?
They are.
Okay, good. I'm glad because Lord knows what could possibly happen there.
If they bring samples, it's Friday afternoon, 2:00. I mean, that's...
If Rebel Red comes strutting in
I
here...
remember Rebel Red.
Well, I'll be happy.
It's a little too sweet for me, but yes, I do love the Adams County Winery.
Katie, not everything is about you.
I know. I'm so sorry. But now, let's take a pause and hear the good word of the day.
Hello, this is Pastor John from Good Ground Church in St. Thomas. I want to take a few minutes to share with you a bit of God's Word. The Apostle Paul, he writes in Romans 8:38-39, "For I'm persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, neither things present, nor things to come, neither height, nor depth, nor any other created thing shall be able to separate us from the love of God, which is in Christ Jesus our Lord." You see, before Paul became a Christian, he actually persecuted Christians. He attacked them. He tried to put them in prison. And that wasn't until he met Jesus. And after he met Jesus, he changed. And he began to preach the very message that he fought against. And as he writes these words, I wonder if he remembers who he was and what he did. And I wonder if he remembered how Jesus changed his life. Paul experienced God's love, and he realized that nothing that he had ever done before could separate him from God's love. Paul realized that the depths and the heights of God's love were vast. He realized that as far as he tried to distance himself, or as low as he found himself going, nothing could keep him from God's love. I want to ask you, is there something that you're putting between you and God that keeps you separate? Because the Bible says that nothing can separate us from God's love. The only thing that separates us from it are the things that we put between him and us. Today, if there's something you've put between yourself and God, I want ask you to remove those barriers, to come home to the Father, and to receive the grace that is waiting for you with open arms.
Weekdays through November 6th, the westbound lane of Memorial Boulevard will be closed to traffic between Eastern Boulevard and Frederick Street. The eastbound lane will remain open. A detour route will be posted to direct traffic around the lane closure. The temporary closure will allow work crews from Huntsberry Brothers Incorporated to replace the curb and gutter along East Memorial Boulevard in relation to the construction of the Hagerstown Field House.
We need to get someone in from the city of Hagerstown to talk about the field house because this is a big venture that they're taking. This is on the property of what was once the home of Hagerstown Suns baseball.
Oh, yes, okay.
And that's been, bulldozed to the ground, and they are building the Hagerstown Fieldhouse on the former site, and it looks beautiful.
Is it like a wedding venue?
A multi-use facility for sports.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Indoor sports. I think there's indoor soccer fields, basketball courts. Just
indoor skydiving.
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, they
I've
didn't
always
quite go
wanted to
there.
try
But,
that.
yeah, but maybe they'll put one. Isn't there one of those in Harrisburg?
No. Well, maybe the one I know is in Northern Virginia. I Fly, I think.
I Fly,
yes. Yeah, I've actually done real skydiving, but I've always wanted to do the indoor one.
If you were stuck in traffic yesterday morning, it was probably because of this. On I-81, a 33-year-old Greencastle man passed away after his car hit a parked tractor-trailer on I-81 in Antrim Township early Wednesday morning. Pennsylvania State Police said Adam Emmerich was northbound at 2:33 a.m. when the front of his 2012 Mercedes hit the rear bumper of the Freightliner Cascadia that was illegally parked on the right side of the highway. Emmerich was dead at the scene, the police report said. The accident occurred a little less than a mile north of the Pennsylvania-Maryland border and shut down northbound 81 until right around 7 a.m. And from what I understand, traffic was very backed up. As just another example, again, of 81. It's just such a heavily traveled route, and it's awful, the accidents that happen.
I knew something was happening. I live right downtown, and whenever there's an accident on 81, it backs up, and all the tractor trailers get off, and they come through my street, and I just hear tractor trailer after tractor trailer, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's pretty obvious that something's going on. So I didn't know that was exactly what happened, but that's unfortunate for sure. Let's go ahead and take a look at sports with Andy.
In Franklin County sports, according to the sports page last night, Middletown, unbeaten and the defending district champion, took on the Greencastle Antrim Blue Devils in the PIAA District 3 Championship. At one point in the match, Middletown held a 2-0 lead after wins of 25-19 and 25-20, and they seemed to have all the answers. But the Blue Devils stuck together, kept playing their game, and they worked their way back into the match. They took the third game and the fourth game 25-21 and 25-20. They finished their huge comeback on the night with a 15-8 verdict in Game 5. It was the first time Greencastle has claimed a District 3 title in volleyball. Congratulations to the ladies of Greencastle Antrim on their championship win. It's Friday night, and it is time for some high school football in Washington County. Boonesboro takes on Smithsburg at 6 p.m. Hancock travels to Clear Spring at 6 p.m. And Manchester Valley travels to Williamsport at 6 p.m. today. On Saturday, North Hagerstown takes on South Hagerstown in the North-South Classic football game. That game starts at 12. And Flint Hill will battle St. James at 12:30 p.m. I'm going to sit down with Curtis Keller later today, and we're going to talk about his Clear Spring Blazers and their game coming up tonight against Hancock. Also coming up tonight in PIAA District 3 football, number 12 ranked Warwick takes on number 5 ranked Shippensburg. The winner will play number 4 Conestoga Valley in the quarterfinals on Friday, November 8th at 7 p.m. The kickoff tonight is at 6:40.
If you'd like to be featured on the Coach's Corner with Andy, email coach at 921thegoat.com.
The JR Sport Brief on the Infinity Sports Network.
Am I going to favor them to win the championship this year? The answer is no. That'll be the greatest miracle because this is the New York Jets. And unfortunately, what's most likely is that one day Aaron Rodgers packs his bags and says, I want to leave. The New York Jets don't have a coach. And the New York Jets are going to have to start from scratch and suck for many more years because another Green Bay Packers experiment quarterback screwed them. This is JR of the JR Sport Brief on 92.1 The GOAT.
Franklin Hardware and Pet Center is a community dedicated to helping you and your pets thrive. They are always ready to lend a paw or hand with expert advice and personalized service. Remember, it's never too early to start your pup on a pre- and probiotic with digestive enzymes. It helps with your new furry friend's immune system and promotes healthy bowel movements. For mature and large breed dogs, it's never too early to start helping them with joint pain. Ultra Oil is great for joint support and it contributes to healthy skin and coats. Finally, when you reward your canine with treats, whether it's a small biscuit or a large bone, your buddy's going to be excited to receive either one. So don't overdo the treats. For more healthy tips for your pet's well-being, stop by Franklin Hardware and Pet Center, 1975 Philadelphia Avenue, Chambersburg. On Facebook and online at franklinhardwareandpetcenter.com.
Franklin Hardware and Pet Center, taking good care of your house and your home.
Well, you can walk, you can amble,
You can jog, you can scramble.
but you still need shoes.
ELM shoes.
Cooler temperatures have arrived, and so has our fall footwear collection at ELM Shoes. We have your feet covered with this season's styles for running and hiking, casual to dress, and even lounging. It's time to freshen up your style with this fall's coolest loafers, slippers, and boots. With over 20,000 pairs of shoes in stock, we're sure to have the styles and brands you love. We also have a great selection of ladies' handbags and, as always, plenty of amazing socks. We're here to serve you with great footwear and an enjoyable shoe shopping experience. ELM Shoes in historic downtown Greencastle, Pennsylvania, and online at elmshoes.com. We'll see you on the square.
So check here first. We've got the good news. Yes, you're gonna need shoes. ELM Shoes.
Kamala Harris gets that everyday costs are too high. She has real plans to tackle price gouging, cut taxes for middle-class families, and make life more affordable. Her opponent's plan?
Donald Trump plans to impose what is, in effect, a national sales tax. On everyday products, it will mean higher prices on just about every one of your daily needs. A Trump tax on gas, a Trump tax on food, a Trump tax on clothing, a Trump tax on over-the-counter medication. Donald Trump's plan would cost a typical family $3,900 a year. When everyday prices are too high, he will make them even higher.
Kamala Harris, a better plan for lowering costs for a future we can afford. Paid for by FFPAC, ffpac.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. FFPAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Greencastle's annual Christmas parade is Saturday, November 23rd. And parents, your son or daughter could lead the way as Grand Marshal if they are between the ages of 5 and 10 and live in the Greencastle Antrim School District. Register them today at Scoops on the Square in downtown Greencastle. 1 entry per child. Your child will also help light the town Christmas tree Friday evening, November 22nd, and enjoy a special holiday treat at Scoops with their friends after the parade. Head into Scoops on the Square today to enter your child's name.
Between Waynesboro and Washington Township and Antrim Township, who discovered that, you remember Helene came in, and nasty stuff happened up in Tennessee. Well, they found that there was a gentleman up there, they learned that he lost almost his entire farm, a lot of property, about half of his cattle. A gentleman by the name of Heilman. So together they decided they wanted to do something to help this fellow out.
And this is in Tennessee?
This is in Tennessee,
Okay.
Irwin, Tennessee. So what they did was they got together and they started collecting hay so that he would have something to feed his cattle with. They got a tractor trailer that was donated by East Coast Green. And then they also got some additional financial and logistical support from Trident Enterprises. And a whole group of them drove down to Irwin, Tennessee and delivered all this stuff.
Oh.
It's they make the point in the story that it's unless you've seen real devastation, there's really no effective way to communicate it
you can't fathom,
with
you can't
words.
put into words, sure.
And even I think it was one of the comments in the story is that television, with the narrow lens that they use, television just doesn't do
it justice.
Yeah, it doesn't. So anyway, they're making additional plans. They're going to go down another time with more supplies. They've apparently established a bond with Mr. Heilman and with the community down there. They are also making plans to deliver Christmas gifts because all the apparently the central part of the town is a little higher, and when the local river overflowed, the higher part of the town was okay, but everything around it became devastated. So they're going down. They're going to go take Christmas toys down for Christmas. They got additional plans. I hope we're going to follow that.
Yeah, that's a great story.
Yeah. In local government, small potatoes, but the Franklin County Magisterial District Court is relocating. There's been an awful lot of movement in the Chambersburg area as the county. Well, they built their new courthouse. They moved a lot of people in and out. And for years, they've been shuffling different elements of the county government around the Chambersburg area, where they're finally moving out the Magisterial District Court, and they're going to be relocating out on 630 Norland Avenue. Mercersburg, continuing a theme that we started last week briefly, Mercersburg got a $2 million loan for some water improvements.
Oh, yes, the pipes and...
Well, that was last week. That was $2.5 million for Smithsburg. This week,
that's right.
This week it's $2 million for Mercersburg. They're putting in a large water tank, storage tank, and they're also getting a booster pump, which, if I recall correctly, pumps 5,000 gallons per minute. Big pump. Mm-hmm. Anyway, they got that money from the Pennsylvania Infrastructure Improvement Authority. So that's good. It's nice to see a string of these stories, though, because there's an awful lot of people in the national news from time to time. You hear about there's an awful lot of infrastructure that's getting up bridges. They talk bridges and roads and that sort of thing, but locally, a lot of the same thing happens. So it's nice to see that the local leaders are actually taking a moment to think about, well, how are we going to finance this stuff? Mm-hmm. Because we can't drop a $2 million bill on all of our residents
right.
just out of the blue.
Did you say that was from state or federal?
That was the Pennsylvania
Gotcha.
Infrastructure Improvement Authority. In sports, I won't. You guys have got the coach, so he covers an awful lot of sports. So I'm not going to go into a lot of it. We do try to cover in local news 7 different school districts in our coverage area. 2 in Chambersburg, or 2 in Hagerstown, 1 in Chambersburg, Greencastle, Waynesboro, Fairfield.
And a lot of them have wrapped up their football seasons, correct?
They have, but if you go out there, our coverage covers all 7 of them. On Mondays, or either Sunday evening or Monday morning, you usually see a story about, well, here's everything here's the results from everything that happened the week before, and then on Tuesday, here's the scheduled activities for everything coming for the rest of the week, and then just kind of alternate back and forth. One particularly nice one, though, and this is good news for Chambersburg soccer in the future. The Union Soccer Club managed to crown 4 different champions in 4 different age groups as part of the Central Pennsylvania Youth Soccer League. They have 2 champions in boys under 10 and under 12, and they had 2 championship clubs in girls under 10 and under 13. So Chambersburg, all the rest of the communities around here that play Chambersburg, they're going to have some tough going, because it looks like the future of soccer in Chambersburg is really picking up. In health, we have a very good arrangement with both WellSpan and Meritus, and here recently more with UPMC. They seem to have discovered us. They send us stories about health. Of course, they're in the business of, I suppose you could say, they'd like to put themselves out of business by people living healthy, and they wouldn't have to intervene quite so much. Mm-hmm. So they share an awful lot of information. So they send us a lot of articles, which of course we publish on their behalf. There was a really good one this past week on managing chronic lower back pain, which is, okay, that sounds like an old folks kind of, that's probably me.
I know.
Yeah. But human body is, all that weight that you haul around when you're lifting heavy objects it all converges on a tiny little bit of your spine right down in here. And it's not necessarily designed for a lot of heavy lifting. Even the weightlifters put things around their midsection. So there's a lot of people that have these kinds of problems. So there's a nice article in there about how you manage lower back pain.
I think that it's pretty interesting to read because I know, everybody knows you're supposed to lift with your legs, but it's hard to lift with your legs.
Yeah, it's difficult to focus on it.
To think about that when you're lifting something heavy. It's
the usual is to stoop over and you want to go straight like that, and then all kinds of things start exciting you in your lower back. There was also, and variation on the theme, there were some people in writing who work with Meritus down in Maryland who have written a book on health system board leaders. I know my first reaction when I saw that was, oh my God. But it's actually really good stuff because you guys have probably also been on boards from time to time, and usually you show up and you don't necessarily have a real deep appreciation not only for what the business is that you're being a board member for, nor do you necessarily have a good appreciation for what your responsibilities are. Well, this is important because virtually every organization, especially in nonprofits, has got a board of some kind, and of course all the larger organizations have got boards. So anybody who takes the time to actually write down their experiences about, okay, I was elected to a board, now what? And who actually starts identifying, these are the specific things that you need to be looking for. That's important. You need to get that.
Is it a little bit like a how-to?
Well, I didn't read the whole book, but they wrote a book, and I would, for people who are involved in this sort of thing, and I'm on several other boards, I'm going to get a copy and see what they've got to say. Nonprofits, excuse me. Every week we get articles from the Antietam Humane Society and the Cumberland Valley Animal Shelter. Pets of the Week. There's a really cute one this past week. This dog looks like the friendliest dog you've ever seen. It's got a smile, goes from ear to ear, and that's saying something. One of the things that folks should probably know about the Humane Societies is they don't necessarily get tax money. I know Antietam Humane Society does not. They work off of donations, and they've got an important job. You would more or less think that maybe the county or the local townships or local towns would provide that service, but they don't. And there's an awful lot of animals that have to be controlled. So these folks really don't want to have to put animals down.
Of course.
What they really want to do is they want to identify animals, they want to clean them up, and they want to find good homes for them. My daughter's got 2 beagles now, both of which were didn't come from them, but they were both rescues. I'm not sure exactly why we're taking care of them for the last several weeks, but nonetheless.
Is that a permanent thing?
It's a parent thing.
Well, it's a parent thing. Says you did what, and you're not feeling good? Okay. So anyway, we're doing that. But this is a great service that the Humane Society and the shelters provide. They would rather not spade if they could possibly avoid it, but you need to maintain control of the animals that are in the area. There were 5 things. Every Friday we have a feature called 5 Things to Do This Weekend.
Oh, okay. Yes. Love it.
Yes. And there's quite a bit coming up this week. In addition to the election, there is the Washington County Treasurer's Sale. The City Museum sponsors this. It's kind of an auction.
Yeah.
That it's going to be taking place on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 5th of November. On the 10th
I believe tonight is you can pay to get the wine hors d'oeuvres and get a previewing party. Yeah.
Tonight's the first night of that. Then moving forward on the 10th of November, we start moving into Veterans Day activities. There will be there's a Simon and Garfunkel reenactment. It's Simon and Garfunkel tribute show. It's going to be taking place. That'll be at 3 p.m. at Waynesboro Area Senior High School. These fellows are apparently sons. They're both sons of the.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think I got that right.
Didn't know that.
Also on the 10th of November, there's going to be a story trail. The Buttonwood folks up at Pine Hill Park in Waynesboro, up on top of the hill. They've actually got it. They installed some permanent storyboards, and what they'll do is they'll take people up there and they'll read stories, and of course they're oriented toward the environment and whatnot. A lot of kids like to go up there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's pretty nice. The 11th of November, the Wayne Band is going to be up at Quincy Village with some folks who also play up at Quincy. That's for Veterans Day, and there'll be a celebration of fallen heroes at Green Hill Cemetery, also on the 11th. On the 21st, Renfrew is going to be doing a wartime in the 40s. I guess it's a show, but it's kind of an
presentation,
in-depth dive into, well, here's how people in the 40s, in the middle of a world war, celebrated Christmas with so many people away fighting and whatnot. So that should be pretty interesting. Okay. So.
You are just a bevy of information.
You are, man. You ought to see the preparation that Dan has in everything that he's bringing, and you can get all of this and so much more online at localnews1.org. We are proud to be partnered with Dan, his team. They are all wonderful, and they keep us all up to date, and Dan has been nice enough to make sure that Katie and I both have memberships, and we can see everything, and we certainly enjoy presenting them, Dan. Well, thank you for coming in, and in just a week, let's do it again, shall we?
Absolutely. And for everybody who's listening, send us all those cards and letters about what's going on out there in Chambersburg, Hagerstown, Waynesboro, all over our area.
Localnews1.org, right?
We love to publish them.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
Coming up, we're going to take another look at news and sports, and it's all powered by Legends Bar in Chambersburg. You can satisfy your sports fix at Legends Bar with game day specials and cold brews. They are located on Hollywell Avenue in Chambersburg.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
I feel the same way that I felt yesterday. I feel like this was a game that the Cowboys should have won.
They did.
They did. I didn't think they were spectacular, but that's okay. You don't have to do style points. This is in college. We're not trying to impress the BCS. This was good for them to get away with a win. And I still have them not making the playoffs this year. Hey, this is Maggie Gray on 92.1 The GOAT, the Tri-State home for local sports and news.
Walk into SA Tactical and Outdoors with your old gun and walk out with something you've been dreaming of. SA Tactical buys all types of used firearms, more than most places, and they offer fair market value. With every purchase of a firearm, you'll also receive 10% off all accessories. Take advantage of this opportunity to upgrade your firearms. SA Tactical and Outdoors, 43 West King Street, Shippensburg. Online at satacticaloutdoors.com. SA Tactical. Get armed.
Join us Saturday, November 23rd for the 39th annual Greencastle Christmas Parade, presented by Verstandig Media and Antrim Way Honda. Get into the holiday spirit and help welcome Santa Claus to town. The Christmas Parade starts at 9:21 a.m. Be sure you're curbside to watch for Santa and all his jolly helpers. The 39th annual Greencastle Christmas Parade is brought to you by John Allison Public House, Lumber Direct, Tulpehocken Springwater, Greencastle Lube Center, and Alternative Choices.
Hey, it's Cody from Bell Jewelers. Don't miss our in-store remount event happening Friday, November 8th. If you've got a treasured piece that could use an update or you're thinking about creating something totally new, this event is for you. We're offering 25% off all in-stock mountings. That means big savings on a fresh look for your favorite jewelry. Whether you're looking to add a little sparkle or completely transform a piece, we're here to help you bring your vision to life. So stop by and let's make your jewelry dreams a reality. Bell Jewelers on Norland Avenue in Chambersburg, your diamond destination.
Join us Saturday, November 23rd for the 39th annual Greencastle Christmas Parade, presented by Verstandig Media and Antrim Way Honda. Get into the holiday spirit and help welcome Santa Claus to town. The Christmas Parade starts at 9:21 a.m. Be sure you're curbside to watch for Santa and all his jolly helpers. The 39th annual Greencastle Christmas Parade is brought to you by Kevin's Cards, Buchanan Trail Tire and Auto, and Chris's Plumbing.
Kamala backed Biden on everything. She was the deciding vote for his disastrous economic agenda. Kamala and Joe raised taxes on the middle class, and prices soared. Kamala was in charge of his open border policies, giving welfare to illegals while Americans struggle, and their weakness invited wars. Now Kamala wants to double down on failure. It's time to turn the page on Joe and Kamala's failed agenda. President Trump fights for you. His strength kept us safe. Trump cut taxes for families. Prices were lower and the border secure. Now, President Trump can do it again.
And we are going to launch a new golden age of American success for the citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed.
Remember, Kamala broke it. President Trump will fix it.
I'm Donald Trump, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Donald J. Trump for President 2024 Inc.
Cold, wintry days are on their way. If you're looking for ways to lower your heating bills and make your home cozy this season, go to AES Hearth and Patio in Camp Hill and Newville to check out their large selection of stoves, inserts, and fireplaces from top quality brands like Heat and Glow, Quadrafire, Harmon, and Vermont Castings, offering start to finish solutions for all your alternative home heating needs. AES Hearth and Patio will work with you to determine the best fireplace, stove, or insert to keep your family warm. Then install and service the unit, making sure you're up and running year after year. Take advantage of their 0% financing options and savings on select units up to $2,000 with the biomass tax credit. With only the best brands like Heat and Glow, Quadrafire, Harmon, and Vermont Castings, come to your local showroom in Newville or Camp Hill and discover your options today. AES Hearth and Patio, creating warm memories through every season.
AES Hearth and Patio. Imagine comfort.
Keep things simple. If you need a vehicle, the best deal in the Tri-State is at McCoy Auto Sales, and it's easy. No pressure, no parade of managers. Just quality vehicles at prices you can afford. Stop by their lot on Lincoln Way West to see new options arriving every week. Pick out the vehicle you like, get your trade-in value and the final price. Drive home happy, stress-free. See why McCoy Auto Sales was voted best used dealer in the Tri-State. 2859 Lincoln Way West, Chambersburg, and online at McCoyAutoSales.com.
Local and live, covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk Tri-State with Tiny and Katie.
The Hagerstown Regional Airport is planning to move forward with a terminal expansion and safety and security work along the runway, due in part to almost $6.8 million in federal grants recently announced for the airport north of Hagerstown. The grants announced this month are exciting, particularly the $5.25 million to expand the terminal at Showalter Road Airport. Airport Director Neil Doran said Wednesday, the Federal Aviation Administration wants to support us growing, Doran said, of the grant awards.
This one is from localnews1.org. Big thanks to them for this story. 2 Hagerstown EMS and emergency services teams were honored recently for what was called a remarkable achievement in saving a 2-month-old infant's life. It happened during a rare out-of-hospital pediatric cardiac arrest. The Washington County Division of Emergency Services presented the Lifesavers Award to Clear Spring EMS and Division of Emergency Services team members. The quick work of the crews kept the baby stabilized until adequate hospital treatment could be provided. The child recovered with no neurological defects.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So well done, Hagerstown EMS and Emergency Services.
Nice. That's great. What a wonderful story.
It's about time we have some good news.
Yes,
Come
absolutely.
through here. Yep.
And speaking of good news, our good buddy Andy's got the sports update.
Week 9 of the NFL kicked off last night with Thursday night football action. The New York Jets finally notched a win after a 5-game losing streak against the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans fell to 6-3, and the New York Jets improved their record to 3-6 on the season. Aaron Rodgers was 22 of 32 for 211 passing yards with 3 touchdowns. Breece Hall had 15 carries on the night for 74 yards, and Malachi Corley had 1 carry for 18 yards. Devontae Adams pulled in 7 passes from Aaron Rodgers for 91 yards and a touchdown, while Garrett Wilson had 9 receptions for 90 yards and 2 scores. For the Texans, C.J. Stroud went 11 of 30 for 191 yards. No touchdowns thrown, no interceptions thrown either. Joe Mixon had a huge night, 24 carries with 106 yards and a touchdown. Leading receiver for the Texans was Tank Dell with 6 receptions, 126 yards, no scores. Also on the evening, Robert Woods with 2 receptions and 44 yards. Up next week for the New York Jets, they'll be traveling to Germany to take on the Carolina Panthers. That game starts at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the Houston Texans, have a tough game against the Detroit Lions on Sunday Night Football, and that's in Houston. That game kicks off at 8:20. Last night in NBA action, the Memphis Grizzlies notched another win against the Milwaukee Bucks, 122-99. Leading scorer for the Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo, 37 points with 11 rebounds, recording a double-double on the night. Ja Morant had 26 points, 10 rebounds, and 14 assists, recording a triple-double for the Memphis Grizzlies. The Dallas Mavericks fell to the Houston Rockets last night, 108-102. Green, the leading scorer for the Rockets, 23 points and 12 rebounds, while Kyrie Irving put in 28 points for the Dallas Mavericks, also recording 8 rebounds and 7 assists. The San Antonio Spurs beat the winless Utah Jazz last night, 106-88. Victor Wembanyama had 25 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists, while John Collins recorded a double-double for the Utah Jazz with 14 points and 11 rebounds. The Phoenix Suns beat the Los Angeles Clippers 125-119 last night. Devin Booker put in 40 points for the Suns with 8 assists and 3 steals, while James Harden notched 25 points, 10 rebounds, and 13 assists for the Clippers, recording a triple-double on the night. Lots of college football action coming up this weekend for you to catch. Tonight, San Diego State takes on Boise State. Boise State's ranked number 15. That game kicks off at 8 p.m. On Saturday, a huge game in Happy Valley. Penn State, undefeated and ranked number 3, will take on Ohio State, 6-1, and ranked number 4. That game starts at 12 o'clock. Number 5, Miami, will take on Duke. Number 19, Ole Miss, goes up against Arkansas, while number 21, Army, will take on Air Force. Army is undefeated on the season. We'll see if they can keep that streak alive. Number 24, Illinois, will take on Minnesota. That game starts at 12. And at 3:30, the number 1 ranked Oregon Ducks, undefeated at 8-0 on the season, will take on tough opponent, Michigan. That game starts at 3:30. Also at 3:30, the Florida Gators will take on number 2 ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Number 11 ranked Iowa State will take on Texas Tech, and number 13 ranked Indiana will take on Michigan State. Number 17 Kansas State takes on Houston, while number 10 Texas A&M will battle South Carolina. Louisville goes up against number 11 ranked Clemson, while number 7 ranked Tennessee takes on Kentucky at 7:45. The late game tomorrow night in college football, number 18 Pittsburgh goes up against number 20 SMU. Pittsburgh's also undefeated on the season. SMU's record stands at 7-1 and 4-0 in the ACC.
If you'd like to be featured on the Coach's Corner with Andy, email coach at 921thegoat.com.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Tri-State, powered by Home Right Windows and Doors in Waynesboro, the right choice winner in the 2024 Best of the Tri-State Awards.
Our next guest today, we have Angie Wilt, who is the coordinator of Franklin County Literacy Council. That's a mouthful.
That is a mouthful.
Do you call it the FCLC?
I do, and I'll tell you why. Because our actual full name is LIU 12, Franklin County Literacy Council.
Oh, I like that better.
It's right.
Just rolls right off the tongue.
Sure does.
Still just call it FCLC because it's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah, I do a lot of public speaking, so I just kind of say it once, and then it's just FCLC. After that,
we're gonna move on with that.
It's like a contract with the legalese. From here on out, it will be FCLC.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So who is the FCLC and what is your mission?
All right. Oh, thank you for that question. So Franklin County Literacy Council has been an adult education provider since 1985. So we've actually been around a long time.
39 years.
Almost 40. Oh my goodness, we're about to hit our 40s, which is such a great decade, right? So at least I don't know about for men, but for women,
it's when the wheels kind of come off. But yeah, sure, why not, Angie?
Right?
Yeah.
It's going to be great. So we serve adults, and the adults that we serve typically are folks who may not have their high school equivalency diploma, or most people call it GED, or they need to learn how to speak English as another language. And in Chambersburg, where our headquarters are, that's really a huge need. I would say at least 85% of our interested adults are English language learners. Yeah.
And
that's wonderful.
What are some different programs that you have?
Well, those are the two.
Those are
the two. So it's either ESL, which is English as a second language, or adult basic education, which is native English speakers who need to get their diploma. And sometimes they may already have their diploma, but maybe they're going for a certification for, let's just for an example, a CDL.
Okay.
And they need to brush up on their math because there are certification, exams that you need to go through. And they're just not, as confident with their math as they were 20 years ago. So they come to us. We can help them brush up on those skills too.
Oh. Is this a free service?
Yeah. So
Wow.
all of the services are free, and our services at the Literacy Council are entirely volunteer tutor based.
How do you enroll in this? Is there a cap of people you can take on?
Well, I mean, we're already at about 65 interested people that we haven't been able to serve because we really rely on those volunteer tutors. So to get involved as a student, right now you would call our office or basically our case manager. She's phenomenal. She does all of the intakes. She does all of the assessments to help us place students with the right level that they would need. We don't want to start them too low. We don't want to throw them into a group that's way too high for them. So we try to make sure that they have, a comfortable place to start. Then they kind of do their thing. They can stay as long as they need to. We've had some students who were only here for a year. We're able to move on to the other side of our adult education program that is housed over at the Career Link out on Norland Avenue in Chambersburg, where they can continue on with GED classes specifically designed to help them get all four. We typically basically focus on math and reading with our tutors. We get into other, topics too, but ours is really literacy based, the foundational pieces of knowledge that we need.
Your ESL students, are they coming through the program with the purpose of trying to get a job, or are they just trying to better communicate with the schools for their children and the parents, or with the teachers and the administrators?
Yes, all of that and more. For our English language learners, a lot of it is, I want to be able to get a job. I want to be able to go further at my place of employment. I want to get a different place of employment because, a lot of our folks go through temp agencies. Not as great of the pay. They're bouncing around from organization to organization, and it's difficult. Some of them have really excellent work ethics. I've spoken to HR directors and floor managers who have said, I wish I could, bring these people up to a different level, supervisory, etc., because their work ethic is great, but their language skills are very lacking.
Yeah, and that's tough. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the tutors.
Yeah.
Tiny and I both have, we were both teachers. And so what are the requirements to be a tutor? Do you have to have some kind of education background or?
No, you don't have to have an education background. It doesn't hurt, but the prerequisites are you need to have a high school diploma and a really solid knowledge base. It used to be that you needed a bachelor's degree. We realized that we were cutting out a lot of folks who didn't have that, but still had that skill set. So we wanted to be able to give them opportunities to serve in this way too. That was a state requirement, that was not a local requirement. And the state finally realized that, hey, there's a lot of people that were missing this opportunity. Right. So basically you come in, you do an application process. There is a really extensive onboarding process. The application process requires Pennsylvania background checks. Because we're part of LIU 12, we need to have child abuse background checks, criminal background checks, and FBI fingerprint background checks if they've not lived in Pennsylvania for 10 consecutive years. Okay. So that's part of the application process. The next part is 9 hours of online training provided through the state website. And that is required, and it's really, really helpful, especially for people who don't have a teaching background. And for those who do, because for those who do, they probably weren't teaching adults. And it's a very different skill set to teach adults than it is kids.
And then do you provide the curriculum for the tutors?
Yes. So the next phase is orientation, where I would bring them in, show them those resources, kind of give them the one-on-one with, hey, this is how you can find this resource. We also have an online curated of all of these online resources that tutors and other people who are involved with adult ed have, as a team, kind of brought these things together. It's a living thing. We just keep adding things. So there's a lot of resources, and of course they can come to myself. I am the program coordinator and the tutor coordinator. So all of the training happens through, I've got things to do. But really legitimately, our tutors are the heart of what we do. We can't do what we do without them.
Are they paid, or is it all volunteer?
It's all volunteer.
Wow, so the onboarding and everything, that's all on a volunteer basis?
All of it is, yeah. And their hours, a lot of folks say, well, that just seems like an intimidating thing. And anything that you do that impacts a person's life is going to feel very heavy, but I actually started as a tutor myself. And I fell in love within a week, meeting my students, Just phenomenal opportunity to learn about what other people experience. And a really huge, probably the number one question that we get is, do I have to speak another language? No, because we're there to teach them English. Right. And you may not have people of the same language background in the same class with you. So it's really pointless to have another language.
So is it a class setting as far as several students? So it's not one-on-one, correct?
It depends on the needs of the student.
Okay.
So we try to do small groups. Small groups typically are 3 to 6. The classrooms that we have at our current space really can only accommodate up to 3 adults. We do also meet offsite at the libraries, churches around the area. Those types of areas have larger areas, but no more than 6 adults to 1 tutor. We do on occasion do a one-on-one situation if the need
is greater
for that student.
Let me ask you about the volunteers. If there's someone who says, I would love to do this, might be listening or watching, and want to reach out to you, are the classes, is it a set schedule, or if they said, Angie, I have an extra 2 hours a week, and here's when they are, is there any, can you work a tutor or somebody to help in?
Actually, okay, so the tutors, there are requirements that are set by our state grant. We have to teach our students at least 3 hours a week, and there's usually a little bit of time to prepare the lesson. So average is about 4 to 6 hours a week.
Does it have to be during the week, or can it be weekends?
It can be. I find that a lot of our tutors, especially those who are out of the workforce, really like to have their weekends free, but I leave it up to the individuals. It's really up to them. We have the space available for them. We have mornings, we have afternoons, we have evenings. It depends on when the tutors are available, The tutors are available, and some are still in the workforce, so they do evenings. Some choose a 3-hour block because that's all they've got. Most actually are 2 times a week, an hour and a half each time. And there is flexibility. You want to go on vacation, go ahead. Have fun, send pictures. Let us know when that's going to be. And oftentimes the summers are off because the kids are home for the students and sometimes the tutors. They take the summer off. That we leave up to the tutor and students.
Would it be fair to say that you need tutors?
Yeah, we have 65 to 70 folks on an interest list right now, and some of them have been waiting since March or April of this year.
Wow. How would somebody go about both directions, enrolling in the program and enrolling for the tutoring process?
Right. So enrolling in the program would be a phone call to our case manager. You can go onto our website, iu12.org/FCLC. Her information is there for students to get, and we have flyers out in all libraries. Other partners have those as well, all with her information, and they can stop by our office. The tutors, similar situation, they're not going to call her, they're going to call me. Again, they can go onto our website, iu12.org/FCLC.
That is a tough,
oh my goodness,
website.
yes.
I thought you said you weren't going to say it anymore.
I know, at least I said
True.
FCLC.
Fair enough.
Or you can go on our Facebook page, LIU12 Franklin County Literacy Council. It is a long name with a big purpose.
Yeah.
So, and just reach out to me via Messenger. They can call the office at 717-504-4459, and my direct extension is 3504.
With the few minutes that we have left here, Angie, I know you have a big fundraiser coming up tomorrow. Is that correct?
I'm so excited.
And it involves comedy and beer. I mean, it's kind of the perfect combination. Wow. And it's in Waynesboro.
I meant I was looking for you.
No, I know.
Okay.
Because I'm funny and I like to drink beer.
No, because you like comedy and you like to drink beer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Walk us through the fundraiser.
Yeah, so this is our second year. We have a friend. Her name is Ashley Pontius. Ashley is a comedian. And last year and this year, she has brought together some of her comedian friends to do a benefit comedy show for us. It's called Read the Room, which is super clever. That was all her.
Love it.
This year, we're going to be featuring Chris Wolf. He has performed at Church of Satire and the Port of Comedy Club. He will be followed by Kaylin Clements. She's been at Zany's Comedy Club and the Cellar Door. And our star will be Bill Monahan. He has performed at DC Comedy Loft, Magooby's Joke House, Church of Satire, DC Improv. he gets around apparently. So but yeah, it's $15 ahead of time. If you want to go onto our website, I'm not going to repeat it again. Go on our website. It's the very first big thing. Click on that. It'll take you to our Eventbrite page.
Where is it?
It's going to, thank you. Yep. It's going to be held at Rough Edges Brewing in Waynesboro, 91 West Main, I believe.
Just look for Katie. She'll be
Yes.
she knows exactly where it is.
I love that place. I love the people there. I love
Casey's amazing.
They are wonderful people.
And guys, we're going to be on the second floor in their new event room.
There you go.
They
Okay.
just
So
had
excited about that.
the ribbon cutting last week, right?
Yes, on Wednesday, I think it was. So yeah, we get the new event space. The only thing about that is it's a historic building. There's not an elevator, so there are mobility issues. We won't be able to get folks up there if they do have mobility issues, but you know, it might be worth it if you can crawl. So just come on up those stairs and join us.
I have to crawl out.
Yeah, well, the beer part, right?
Yeah. I'm mainly thinking about her.
Yeah.
And the funds that you raise, what is that going to help support?
It will actually support us being able to buy materials for our students. And I do want to say every single one of these folks, these amazing comedians, are giving us every dime.
Yeah.
They're not charging us. We have a sponsor for our program. Patriot Federal Credit Union has been our sponsor last year, this year. So we really have no overhead. Every dollar that we make tomorrow night goes directly to our funds to help fill those gaps that students right now have to leave their books there. They can't really they can take one or two books home, but they can't take their main books home. We'd like to be able to give our students all of the materials to take home with them. This will help us be able to provide that service to them.
I really like this organization. I know obviously we spend a lot of time talking about supporting children, and that's very important, but this is important too.
Very worthy.
Really?
I think it's a really great cause what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I want to just point out that if you want to help a child, you've got to help their parents. This work that we do, you know, helping people really improve their literacy has such a community impact, and it's not just one that happens or is felt now. It is generational.
I think we take it for granted too. We just pick up something and we start reading, and that's wonderful. And it's difficult to process that there are those who maybe are my age who have not learned to read. And when you really stop and reflect, we think it's one of the most basic things. It should be. Sadly, in many cases, it's not. And for free, you can get the service from the FCLC, which is so honorable and noble.
They can support their children who are maybe ESL and having difficulties with reading.
And
I saw so much of that as an educator.
It also can seem insurmountable, I'm sure, for an adult after so many years of getting through. They've gotten through life so far and they haven't had to worry about reading. And maybe it was that, kind of back burner dream. And I'm sure that can seem very daunting to do that. But it sounds like you guys have a good handle on that and are ready and willing to help.
Yeah, we've got some pretty brave people walking through our doors every single day. So yeah.
Angie, thank you so much for talking to us about your cause and your mission, and we really appreciate you having you on the show today.
I appreciate you guys inviting me.
Of course.
Yeah, thank you.
Coming up, we're going to take another look at news and sports, and it's all powered by Virtus Men's Health in Hagerstown. They have telehealth available, and you can find them online at virtusmenshealth.com.
Planning the perfect wedding? Have you already had the ultimate wedding? Would you like to be featured in the upcoming Tristate Bridal magazine? If your dream wedding has, in reality, taken place within the past 3 years, submit your details at bestthetristate.com and you could be featured in the magazine. You know you want to. Go ahead. Say, I do want to share my dream wedding with the world. For submission requirements and more details, visit bestthetristate.com.
Franklin Hardware and Pet Center is a community dedicated to helping you and your pets thrive. They are always ready to lend a paw or hand with expert advice and personalized service. Remember, it's never too early to start your pup on a pre- and probiotic with digestive enzymes. It helps with your new furry friend's immune system and promotes healthy bowel movements. For mature and large breed dogs, it's never too early to start helping them with joint pain. Ultra Oil is great for joint support and it contributes to healthy skin and coats. Finally, when you reward your canine with treats, whether it's a small biscuit or a large bone, your buddy's going to be excited to receive either one. So don't overdo the treats. For more healthy tips for your pet's well-being, stop by Franklin Hardware and Pet Center, 1975 Philadelphia Avenue, Chambersburg. On Facebook and online at franklinhardwareandpetcenter.com.
Franklin Hardware and Pet Center. house and your home.
Wholesale Pallet Pushers is 6,500 feet of deals. Buy pallets, bins, mystery boxes, and save big. Electronics, clothing, home goods, power tools, home improvement, and construction items, and more. Pay half of what you would normally pay. Wholesale Pallet Pushers resells liquidated goods from major retailers at a fraction of the original prices. You'll always find a great buy. Wholesale Pallet Pushers, 231 East Oak Ridge Drive, across from the Meadows in Hagerstown. Find them on Facebook. Wholesale Pallet Pushers, your go-to hub for quality, diversified pallet loads.
Real quick, raise your hand if you want to lose an additional 4 bands a year. Go ahead and put your hands up. Put your hands up. You voted for Kamala Harris. Oh, okay. My fault. Good, because I don't think people understand that voting for Trump means you will lose an additional $4,000 to $5,000 a year. If Trump is elected, he plans to add a 60% tariff on all imports from China. Anything in your house that says made in China, take the price that you paid for and add 60%. He plans to add a 20% tariff on all imports coming from every other country. With Kamala Harris's opportunity economy, she's not hitting you with the sales tax of doom. She's providing tax cuts to the middle and working class, so that means you will save an additional $4,000 to $5,000 a year. Plus the $25,000 she's literally handing to new homebuyers. Like, you know who to vote for in this November's election. It's Kamala Harris. Paid for by FFPAC, ffpac.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. FFPAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Kamala Harris gets that everyday costs are too high. She has real plans to tackle price gouging, cut taxes for middle-class families, and make life more affordable. Her opponent's plan?
Donald Trump plans to impose what is, in effect, a national sales tax on everyday products. It will mean higher prices on just about every one of your daily needs. A Trump tax on gas, a Trump tax on food, a Trump tax on clothing, a Trump tax on over-the-counter medication. Donald Trump's plan would cost a typical family $3,900 a year. When everyday prices are too high, he will make them even higher.
Kamala Harris, a better plan for lowering costs for a future we can afford. Paid for by FFPAC, ffpac.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. FFPAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Are you currently medically uninsured? Uninsured citizens are healthier and more productive through free access to health care. Are you currently a citizen of Washington County, Maryland?
Hi, I'm Nicole, Executive Director of the Community Free Clinic. We can help those in need of physical or mental health care, including prescription medicine and lab services. Services are not based on income. Most services are free to qualifying patients. Are you currently medically uninsured? If you need physical or mental health care, learn if you qualify at mycommunityfreeclinic.org.
As the weather cools down, it's time to warm up your car for the months ahead. You want service you can trust. You want Greencastle Lube Center. They handle all types of maintenance, from oil changes and tires to minor repairs. Don't wait until the cold arrives. Schedule your appointment now and see their full service menu online at greencastlelubecenter.com. Greencastle Lube Center, just off Exit 5 on I-81. And remember to say hi to Sky, the shop dog.
Local and live, covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk Tri-State with Tiny and Katie.
Let's talk Tri-State.
Weekdays through November 6th, the westbound lane of Memorial Boulevard will be closed to traffic between Eastern Boulevard and Frederick Street. The eastbound lane will remain open. A detour route will be posted to direct traffic around the lane closure. The temporary closure will allow work crews from Huntsberry Brothers Incorporated to replace the curb and gutter along East Memorial Boulevard in relation to the construction of the Hagerstown Fieldhouse.
We need to get someone in from the city of Hagerstown to talk about the field house, because this is a big venture that they're taking. This is on the property of what was once the home of Hagerstown Suns baseball.
Oh, yes, okay.
And that's been, bulldozed to the ground, and they are building the Hagerstown Fieldhouse on the former site. And it looks beautiful.
Is it like a wedding venue?
A multi-use facility for sports.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Indoor sports. I think there's indoor soccer fields, basketball courts. Just
indoor skydiving?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No,
I've
they didn't
always
quite go
wanted to
there.
try
But, yeah, but maybe they'll put one. Isn't there one of those in Harrisburg?
No, well, maybe. The one I know is in Northern Virginia. iFly, I think.
iFly, yes.
Yeah, I've actually done real skydiving, but I've always wanted to do the indoor one.
If you were stuck in traffic yesterday morning, it was probably because of this. On I-81, a 33-year-old Greencastle man passed away after his car hit a parked tractor-trailer on I-81 in Antrim Township early Wednesday morning. Pennsylvania State Police said Adam Emmerich was northbound at 2:33 a.m. when the front of his 2012 Mercedes hit the rear bumper of the Freightliner Cascadia that was illegally parked on the right side of the highway. Emmerich was dead at the scene, the police report said. The accident occurred a little less than a mile north of the Pennsylvania-Maryland border and shut down northbound 81 until right around 7 a.m. And from what I understand, traffic was very backed up. As just another example, again, of 81. It's just such a heavily traveled route, and it's awful, the accidents that happen.
I knew something was happening. I live right downtown, and whenever there's an accident on 81, it backs up, and all the tractor trailers get off, and they come through my street, and I just hear tractor trailer after tractor trailer, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's pretty obvious that something's going on. So I didn't know that was exactly what happened, but that's unfortunate for sure. Let's go ahead and take a look at sports with Andy.
In Franklin County sports, according to the sports page last night, Middletown, unbeaten and the defending district champion, took on the Greencastle Antrim Blue Devils in the PIAA District 3 Championship. At one point in the match, Middletown held a 2-0 lead after wins of 25-19 and 25-20, and they seemed to have all the answers. But the Blue Devils stuck together, kept playing their game, and they worked their way back into the match. They took the third game and the fourth game 25-21 and 25-20. They finished their huge comeback on the night with a 15-8 verdict in Game 5. It was the first time Greencastle has claimed a District 3 title in volleyball. Congratulations to the ladies of Greencastle Antrim on their championship win. It's Friday night, and it is time for some high school football in Washington County. Boonesboro takes on Smithsburg at 6 p.m. Hancock travels to Clear Spring at 6 p.m. And Manchester Valley travels to Williamsport at 6 p.m. today. On Saturday, North Hagerstown takes on South Hagerstown in the North-South Classic football game. That game starts at 12. And Flint Hill will battle St. James at 12:30 p.m. I'm going to sit down with Curtis Keller later today, and we're going to talk about his Clear Spring Blazers and their game coming up tonight against Hancock. Also coming up tonight in PIAA District 3 football, number 12 ranked Warwick takes on number 5 ranked Shippensburg. The winner will play number 4 Conestoga Valley in the quarterfinals on Friday, November 8th at 7 p.m. The kickoff tonight is at 6:40.
If you'd like to be featured on the Coach's Corner with Andy, email coach at 921thegoat.com.
The JR Sport Brief on the Infinity Sports Network.
Am I going to favor them to win the championship this year? The answer is no. That'll be the greatest miracle because this is the New York Jets. And unfortunately, what's most likely is that one day Aaron Rodgers packs his bags and says, I want to leave. The New York Jets don't have a coach, and the New York Jets are going to have to start from scratch and suck for many more years because another Green Bay Packers experiment quarterback screwed them. This is JR of the JR Sport Brief on 92.1 The GOAT.
Kamala Harris gets that everyday costs are too high. She has real plans to tackle price gouging, cut taxes for middle-class families, and make life more affordable. Her opponent's plan?
Donald Trump plans to impose what is, in effect, a national sales tax. On everyday products, it will mean higher prices on just about every one of your daily needs. A Trump tax on gas, a Trump tax on food, a Trump tax on clothing, a Trump tax on over-the-counter medication. Donald Trump's plan would cost a typical family $3,900 a year. When everyday prices are too high, he will make them even higher.
Kamala Harris, a better plan for lowering costs for a future we can afford. Paid for by FFPAC, ffpac.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. FFPAC's responsible for the content of this advertising.
Well, you can walk, you can amble,
you can jog, you can scramble,
but you still need shoes.
ELM Shoes.
Cooler temperatures have arrived, and so has our fall footwear collection at ELM Shoes. We have your feet covered with this season's styles for running and hiking, casual to dress, and even lounging. It's time to freshen up your style with this fall's coolest loafers, slippers, and boots. With over 20,000 pairs of shoes in stock, we're sure to have the styles and brands you love. We also have a great selection of ladies' handbags, and as always, plenty of amazing socks. We're here to serve you with great footwear and an enjoyable shoe shopping experience. ELM Shoes in historic downtown Greencastle, Pennsylvania, and online at elmshoes.com. We'll see you on the square.
So check here first. We've got the good news. Yes, you're gonna need shoes. ELM Shoes.
Kamala backed Biden on everything. She was the deciding vote for his disastrous economic agenda. Kamala and Joe raised taxes on the middle class, and prices soared. Kamala was in charge of his open border policies, giving welfare to illegals while Americans struggle, and their weakness invited wars. Now Kamala wants to double down on failure. It's time to turn the page on Joe and Kamala's failed agenda. President Trump fights for you. His strength kept us safe. Trump cut taxes for families. Prices were lower and the border secure. Now, President Trump can do it again.
And we are going to launch a new golden age of American success for the citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed.
Remember, Kamala broke it. President Trump will fix it.
I'm Donald Trump, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Donald J. Trump for President 2024, Inc.
Lizzie's Restaurant on Buchanan Trail West is open 7 days a week for takeout and dine-in service. Get your taste buds ready because their caramel apple sundae is back. Vanilla soft serve with 2 fried apple pie pieces, topped with caramel sauce, cinnamon-infused whipped cream, and a cherry, of course. Yum. Open 7 days a week for dine-in, takeout, and local delivery. Be sure to follow Lizzie's on Facebook for the latest info and specials. Lizzie's, the way you like it.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
I feel the same way that I felt yesterday. I feel like this was a game that the Cowboys should have won.
They did.
They did. I didn't think they were spectacular, but that's okay. You don't have to do style points. This isn't college. We're not trying to impress the BCS. This was good for them to get away with a win. And I still have them not making the playoffs this year. Hey, this is Maggie Gray on 92.1 The GOAT, the Tri-State home for local sports and news.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Tri-State, powered by Home Right Windows and Doors, the right choice, winner in the 2024 Best of the Tri-State Awards.
I'm really excited about our next guest today, Tiny, because we're doing something a little different here with this interview.
Doesn't happen every day.
So we have Matt Anderson and Rick Germain, and the movie that you guys we're going to talk about and really focus in on is called Serious Profession. And Matt, you are the writer, director. This is kind of like your brainchild, correct?
Yes.
And then Rick, you star in it.
Yep.
And Tiny and I were watching a little bit of it the last couple days, because the thing that makes it so significant to this particular area is it's shot in Waynesboro, right?
Yeah.
So why Waynesboro? How did that come about?
Well, it's I have a lot of people that are up here in Waynesboro, and Tom Toohey, who is one of the producers on the film, had some property that he allowed us to use, and along with his wife Angela, and so it was the great locations, what we needed to really do the film, and we've actually have filmed other films in Waynesboro, thanks to him and to other support from other people in the community. So.
And we're going to put the link up for people to view the movie, but give us the overall premise of the movie and what it's about.
You want to take this one, Ray?
So Serious Profession is about 2 sort of low-level crime family enforcers. And basically follows us throughout the day, dealing with all the different kinds of people that we have to deal with. Yeah, I mean, that's
it in a nutshell.
That's it in a nutshell.
Right, and you're a cop?
No, I'm one of the low-level crime enforcers.
Oh, okay.
He's a leg breaker.
Yeah.
He's one of the 2 leg breakers.
He gets the loans and all back and gets repayment and mobs, loan shark stuff.
Right. And I have a new partner that has been brought on. So I'm kind of training him, and he's very old school.
Your character, Rick, seems a bit, for an enforcer from with gang mafia related ties, comes off a bit reserved, as in I'm more forgiving than what we would traditionally see. Your partner, however, is young, ambitious, and really wants to bust heads. So
and he's
to speak.
like ruffling feathers.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I think my character is sort of, he's been in it for a long time, and he's kind of learned that, you catch more, catch more flies with honey.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where he is now. It's just, the leg breaking and the violence and all that is like, yeah, that gets you to a certain point, but that doesn't have longevity. And I think that's mostly what I'm trying to teach.
I want to let you both have an opportunity to talk a little bit about your background. So let's start, Matt, with you. How did you come up with the idea for this film? And also, walk us through your background and then finish it off with the film idea.
Sure. Well, I was in the Air Force for 21 years, and gotta go a little even further back. When I was 7 years old, I had a dream. I wanted to be a novelist. So I started writing my first book, which was going to school on the moon. What else did I know at 7?
I like it.
I'd watched a lot of Space 1999 at that point. Sure. Yeah. So that started, and I pretty much never stopped writing for many years. Then I joined the Air Force, and I got to go to Japan and experience a lot of different things, and kind of grow my life and see things I never would have seen if I hadn't. So that really influenced a lot of my writing, and then I would be inspired by different things that I'd see or encounter or experience myself. And then, of course, through my own journey of self-discovery, it helped me kind of develop that. And then when I retired, I worked for various government agencies, so I saw a lot more interesting things in my life. And so, a lot of, pretty much everything in all my stories has some connection to my life, either people I've known, experiences I've had, philosophies I've developed over the years. So Serious Profession was just one of many ideas that came out in the 90s. It was something I created in the 90s when I was younger, but I really didn't develop it until I was much older, when I had a little bit more experience of life under my belt and had kind of shifted my own personal philosophies in life. So that's kind of where it came from. And, Tom, who, one of our producers, he and I always get into this conversation about, does every movie have to have a message or have to have a question or a theory behind it? And in this case, yes, it did. But not every movie that I've written does.
Is this your first feature film? I'm sorry.
That was my question.
Feature-length film?
This was actually the first one that we filmed, where I was writer and director. Technically, it is the second feature film that we are releasing, because the first one was Anna Key. We just wound up getting that one done a little bit faster than we did on Serious Profession. And so this was technically my first one that I ever did. We did it right on the edge of COVID, so it was COVID had just finished, or was starting to hope get a little bit easier. Not much, but it was a little bit. And then went on Anna Key, and then produced a couple of other films, and one, Heavy Duty Man, that was filmed entirely in Waynesboro, and actually Waynesboro is the centerpiece for that. And then Did These Things, also filmed it entirely in Waynesboro. So Waynesboro's been very good to us in giving us really great locations and really great people like Brandy Lynn Dalton, who let us use her entire house for These Things. It's just right up the road from the main street. Waynesboro Theater has been very supportive of us. They showed Anna Key. They're showing Serious Profession. That I know we're going to be showing just about every film that we ever make. There.
I think it's so fun to watch it and point out, I know that place. Yeah. I know where that is. Yeah. It's so fun for the audience to do that. And the premiere's coming up next week.
Yes. Saturday at 2 p.m. at Waynesboro Theater. Tickets are on sale now through their website, so you can go straight there, get your ticket. They're $15, $10 for kids. It's, there's nothing in there that kids can't see, but they probably are going to be a little, lack of a better term, bored, because it's not nonstop
CGI.
action. All that stuff. It's a very...
You mean you don't have the Transformers make an appearance?
No,
Okay.
no. I
Just
thought
a little
about
cameo.
it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Tiny
I was
cameo.
joking. I always joked with Rick and the rest is that we were just going to throw in zombies randomly just to throw people off, but we decided.
Zombies Attack Waynesboro, I think, would be great. Probably get a lot of response. I think.
I think there are a couple movies where zombies have attacked Waynesboro. So,
There you go.
Just giving you material for your next movie here.
Yeah. Rick, let's move on to you if we could. Take us through, how did you get into acting? Is this one of your first few? Have you only ever worked with Matt here?
I got into acting basically on a fluke. I'd always wanted to do it since I was a little kid, but I never pursued it. I lived out in LA for almost 20 years and auditioned for a game show. I think that was about as close as I ever got. I was out there trying to be a rock star. And life takes turns. I wound up moving back here. And somebody just reached out to me randomly on Facebook and said, you would be perfect for this movie that we're doing. And so I got all excited and things progressed and progressed. Anyway, in the end, it turned out that the whole thing was a scam. There was no movie. There was nothing.
How dare you, Matt?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, no, I'll name names if you want.
What a heartbreaker.
But anyway, it was just total garbage. And but I was so excited about, doing it. I was like, well, I'm just going to start auditioning then. So I did. I started auditioning. That was about 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. I think I'm somewhere in the 70s now on IMDb. Records as far as how many movies I've been in and productions and stuff. I think it's somewhere around 70 now. So
what's the biggest film that you've been in?
Not too many really big ones. I mean, for me, Serious Profession is probably it.
Is that your biggest role that you've
had?
Yeah,
it's definitely my first major lead role. Yeah.
How long did it take you guys to film this? I know you said it was during the COVID was wrapping a bit. But
6 months.
Yeah, I mean, it was about 10 days, just broken up because of COVID and locations and time and period. A lot of it was just the post-production process that is what took longer, is just because we had some personnel shift over, and so I was having to basically take on the project and learn how to edit a film. So I was basically learning how to edit while I was editing. And then
that's fun.
Yeah, and then had a lot of good support from our cinematographer Aaron Money, who actually kind of gave me some tips and pointers on how to edit. And then once I finally got through that, along I was trying to edit Anna Key and a couple of other films. So I got better, and then finally got it. And then we had Andrew Stainer who did the soundtrack for it, so it synced up his. And gave it over to Rick, and Rick did sound mixing on it because he's also a sound engineer along with all his other many talents. And so, once we finally got that all together, now we are ready for prime time, as they like to say.
And your production company is called Key 13?
Key 13 Films, yes.
And it's in Frederick.
Yes.
And so you may have touched upon this already. What made you think Waynesboro and not Frederick?
Well, I mean, I filmed in Frederick too. There are parts of Serious Profession that were done in Frederick, like all the stuff in the car. That was all done in Frederick with green screen. But we used locations from all over,
including your house,
including my house. Yes. So Waynesboro is just because there is a large independent film community here. There are a lot of great people here, like Tom Toohey, Angela Toohey.
Matt
Burns. There's just so many great people out this way that helped us get Serious Profession. Especially, this was my first feature film. Key 13 had barely been around. We were smack in the middle of COVID, so we were trying to establish a whole company with everything
shutting
in the world
down,
going and shutting down. So Waynesboro just has been incredibly gracious to us. It's been very helpful, very supportive, and so and I like the people here, like the locations. The town can be kind of a little bit of everything for what you need. So that's why, we film in Frederick. We're going to be filming, we filmed in Virginia, any key pieces in Virginia. We film all over the area, Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. So
this might be a silly question, but when you film in a certain area, do you have to get permission to do that from anybody?
It depends on where we're filming. Like the next film that I'm working on, which is called Following, we want to use the Riverwalk down in Frederick, Maryland. So we're going to have to get permission from the county, and if they let us do it, great. If not, then we have to find a location. So most of the time, it's the property owners that we contact, and they are, we ask them, hey, can we use your facilities? And for Serious Profession, Matt Burns facilitated a lot of that. He's also a producer on the film. So because of that, and because of his connections in Waynesboro, because he lives in Waynesboro, he was able to connect me with some of these businesses, and businesses said, yeah, sure, come on over. Let's film there. And so that, it's just the generosity, again, of Waynesboro and all the people in it that enabled us to make this film as close to what we wanted.
We have about a minute left in that time. So we have the premiere coming up next week. What is next for Serious Profession after that? What's the goal? What's the plan?
The plan is to go for distribution, and looking at some companies right now. Just want to get it done, and then once we do the premiere, just for everybody to get a chance to see, then we're going to start looking at different companies and hopefully get a distributor and get that out there.
And if people wanted to go to the premiere, because this is so fun, where do they get their tickets?
From the Waynesboro Theater website. I don't have the web address memorized, but you just type in Waynesboro Theater. Yeah. It's easy to find.
$15, $10 for kids. A lot of fun, and especially if you're in Waynesboro, come and see. Come and see your town in a movie. It's pretty cool. But thank you guys for.
One of the key scenes is actually filmed right across the street from the theater. So.
Yeah. Love it. It's fun to point it out and just, have that connection to a movie. But thank you guys for spending your afternoon with us, and we look forward to the success of Serious Profession.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
And coming up, we're going to take a look at news and sports, and it's all powered by 2A Arms, LLC, 2A and PA Firearms and Freedom.
When you and your loved one need extra support for a very serious illness, there's just one call to make. To Hospice of Washington County.
They provided a team of professionals to meet our loved ones and our family's needs.
They allowed me to be my mother's daughter again and to spend special time with her. I knew I had help just a phone call away.
They were there in our home with help and medical equipment exactly when we needed them.
When your loved one needs extra support for a serious illness, there's just one call to make. To Hospice of Washington County. Hospice care is a fully covered Medicare and Medicaid benefit, and no one is ever turned away for an inability to pay. Hospice of Washington County cares for the whole family. Call 301-791-6360. That's 301-791-6360. Or visit hospiceofwc.org.
Keep things simple. If you need a vehicle, the best deal in the Tri-State is at McCoy Auto Sales, and it's easy. No pressure, no parade of managers. Just quality vehicles at prices you can afford. Stop by their lot on Lincoln Way West to see new options arriving every week. Pick out the vehicle you like, get your trade-in value and the final price. Drive home happy, stress-free. See why McCoy Auto Sales was voted best used dealer in the Tri-State. 2859 Lincoln Way West, Chambersburg, and online at McCoyAutoSales.com.
27 years in politics has changed Bob Casey. He's just not the same anymore. In Washington, Bob Casey voted to let biological men compete against our girls in their sports. And Casey introduced a bill to force hospitals to perform sex change operations against their beliefs. Letting men compete against our daughters? Forcing hospitals to perform sex changes? It's just not normal. But that's how liberal Casey is these days. Casey also voted for higher taxes on seniors' Social Security benefits, too. Casey even voted for a bill that could raise out-of-pocket drug costs for seniors. Higher taxes on Social Security? Raising drug costs for seniors? Come on, Casey. It's just not right. Bob Casey's gone way too liberal for Pennsylvania. After 27 years, we need a change. It's time to fire Bob Casey. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. SenateLeadershipFund.org.
Space is important, and so is not being a hoarder. At On Point Storage in Chambersburg and Fayetteville, they have all the space you'll ever need, from a cubby to a whole lot. On Point Storage has climate-controlled units, the ultimate space to keep your things safe. And right now, save half off the first full month's rent at their Chambersburg and Fayetteville units. On Point Storage, state-of-the-art storage with 24-hour access and video surveillance. Declutter your home with a climate-controlled unit at On Point Storage, Chambersburg and Fayetteville. Full details at onpointstoragepA.com.
Change brings opportunity, and here at Williamsport Health and Rehabilitation, we are very excited to announce that as of October 1st, our name has changed, but the care and compassion that is at the heart of all we do has not. Previously Williamsport Retirement Village, our goal was and always will be to provide the best care in the tri-state area to our community. We currently have openings in our assisted living and long-term care. Please call 301-223-7971 to hear about our incentives and to schedule a tour. Williamsport Health and Rehabilitation, care beyond compare.
Join us at Hip Gypsy Emporium for our holiday open house and Santa's Helper Vendor event, November 8th, 9th, and 10th, celebrating 10 years of Christmas magic. Where did the time go?
On Saturday and Sunday, November 9th and 10th, our Santa's Helpers will be set up and ready for business. The holiday kitchen will be open again this year with proceeds benefiting Toys for Tots. So come hungry.
Get your Hip Gypsy fix and be ready to shop, stay, and play for your holiday. Hip Gypsy Emporium, 2168 Monalto Road, Chambersburg. Look for the V-Dub out front and then come around back.
Walk into SA Tactical and Outdoors with your old gun and walk out with something you've been dreaming of. SA Tactical buys all types of used firearms, more than most places, and they offer fair market value. With every purchase of a firearm, you'll also receive 10% off all accessories. Take advantage of this opportunity to upgrade your firearms. SA Tactical and Outdoors, 43 West King Street, Shippensburg. Online at satacticaloutdoors.com. SA Tactical. Get armed.
Local and live, covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk Tri-State with Tiny and Katie.
The Hagerstown Regional Airport is planning to move forward with a terminal expansion and safety and security work along the runway, due in part to almost $6.8 million in federal grants recently announced for the airport north of Hagerstown. The grants announced this month are exciting, particularly the $5.25 million to expand the terminal at Showalter Road Airport. Airport Director Neil Doran said Wednesday, the Federal Aviation Administration wants to support us growing, Doran said, of the grant awards.
This one is from localnews1.org. Big thanks to them for this story. 2 Hagerstown EMS and emergency services teams were honored recently for what was called a remarkable achievement in saving a 2-month-old infant's life. It happened during a rare out-of-hospital pediatric cardiac arrest. The Washington County Division of Emergency Services presented the Lifesavers Award to Clear Spring EMS and Division of Emergency Services team members. The quick work of the crews kept the baby stabilized until adequate hospital treatment could be provided. The child recovered with no neurological defects.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So well done, Hagerstown EMS and Emergency Services.
Nice. That's great. What a wonderful story.
It's about time we have some good news.
Yes,
Come
absolutely.
through here. Yep.
And speaking of good news, our good buddy Andy's got the sports update.
Week 9 of the NFL kicked off last night with Thursday night football action. The New York Jets finally notched a win after a 5-game losing streak against the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans fell to 6-3, and the New York Jets improved their record to 3-6 on the season. Aaron Rodgers was 22 of 32 for 211 passing yards with 3 touchdowns. Breece Hall had 15 carries on the night for 74 yards, and Malachi Corley had 1 carry for 18 yards. Devontae Adams pulled in 7 passes from Aaron Rodgers for 91 yards and a touchdown, while Garrett Wilson had 9 receptions for 90 yards and 2 scores. For the Texans, C.J. Stroud went 11 of 30 for 191 yards. No touchdowns thrown, no interceptions thrown either. Joe Mixon had a huge night, 24 carries with 106 yards and a touchdown. Leading receiver for the Texans was Tank Dell with 6 receptions, 126 yards, no scores. Also on the evening, Robert Woods with 2 receptions and 44 yards. Up next week for the New York Jets, they'll be traveling to Germany to take on the Carolina Panthers. That game starts at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the Houston Texans have a tough game against the Detroit Lions on Sunday Night Football, and that's in Houston. That game kicks off at 8:20. Last night in NBA action, the Memphis Grizzlies notched another win against the Milwaukee Bucks, 122-99. Leading scorer for the Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo, 37 points with 11 rebounds, recording a double-double on the night. Ja Morant had 26 points, 10 rebounds, and 14 assists, recording a triple-double for the Memphis Grizzlies. The Dallas Mavericks fell to the Houston Rockets last night, 108-102. Green, the leading scorer for the Rockets, 23 points and 12 rebounds, while Kyrie Irving put in 28 points for the Dallas Mavericks, also recording 8 rebounds and 7 assists. The San Antonio Spurs beat the winless Utah Jazz last night, 106-88. Victor Wembanyama had 25 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists, while John Collins recorded a double-double for the Utah Jazz with 14 points and 11 rebounds. The Phoenix Suns beat the Los Angeles Clippers 125-119 last night. Devin Booker put in 40 points for the Suns with 8 assists and 3 steals, while James Harden notched 25 points, 10 rebounds, and 13 assists for the Clippers, recording a triple-double on the night. Lots of college football action coming up this weekend for you to catch. Tonight, San Diego State takes on Boise State. Boise State's ranked number 15. That game kicks off at 8 p.m. On Saturday, a huge game in Happy Valley. Penn State, undefeated and ranked number 3, will take on Ohio State, 6-1, and ranked number 4. That game starts at 12 o'clock. Number 5, Miami, will take on Duke. Number 19, Ole Miss, goes up against Arkansas, while number 21, Army, will take on Air Force. Army is undefeated on the season. We'll see if they can keep that streak alive. Number 24, Illinois, will take on Minnesota. That game starts at 12. And at 3:30, the number 1 ranked Oregon Ducks, undefeated at 8-0 on the season, will take on tough opponent, Michigan. That game starts at 3:30. Also at 3:30, the Florida Gators will take on number 2 ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Number 11 ranked Iowa State will take on Texas Tech, and number 13 ranked Indiana will take on Michigan State. Number 17 Kansas State takes on Houston, while number 10 Texas A&M will battle South Carolina. Louisville goes up against number 11 ranked Clemson, while number 7 ranked Tennessee takes on Kentucky at 7:45. The late game tomorrow night in college football, number 18 Pittsburgh goes up against number 20 SMU. Pittsburgh's also undefeated on the season. SMU's record stands at 7-1 and 4-0 in the ACC.
If you'd like to be featured on the Coach's Corner with Andy, email coach at 921thegoat.com.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Tri-State, powered by Home Right Windows and Doors in Waynesboro, the right choice, winner in the 2024 Best of the Tri-State Awards.
Tiny, do you remember years ago, you and me and Mary, your wife, went to Adams County Winery.
Yeah.
And we sat outside, had some delicious wine.
Yes.
And we haven't been back since. Well, I haven't because I moved to Virginia. So,
which is unfortunate.
Which is unfortunate. But today we are joined by Dan Baumgardner.
You nailed it. Great job.
Baumgardner, who is the general manager of that winery, Adams County Winery. And thank you so much for being here with us today.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you. Yep.
I'm going to grill you with questions.
Please do. I love them.
Here we go.
Okay. So I was telling him a couple minutes ago, I worked at a winery for 10 years, and I was very intrigued by the industry. And so I know primarily in Pennsylvania, wines are sweeter in this area. So I worked in Virginia where we have nice dry wines, and that became my taste. Do you have a selection of dry as well, or is it primarily sweet wines?
So yeah, great question. You hit the nail on the head. It is, we are primarily in a sweet wine area, but we are very lucky. We have some fantastic dry wines, a Chardonnay that's barrel aged, a red blend that's primarily Cabernet Sauvignon that we grow right at our vineyard in Ortana. And we're very lucky to have an amazing winemaker. He's from France. He's been with us since 2018, and he does a phenomenal job. So
Does he use any kind of like European style as he's doing the wines?
I think he works a little of that in there. I know one of the reasons I asked him, I said, what really made you want to come over and work in the United States? And he said the flexibility, the creativity he can have, because where he's from in France, in a lot of regions in Europe, you have to make a certain wine a certain way, and you have no flexibility.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, how long have you been with Adams County Winery?
13 years tomorrow, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, good for you.
Congratulations.
So exciting, yeah.
How many acres do you have under vine?
We have about 13 acres right now, and we grow 5 different varieties.
Okay. And how many wines do you have
currently? Oh boy, right now we're at about 22, but we average around 18 to 20.
And I bet your most popular is Rebel Red.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep, Rebel Red, and I do have a fun story about that wine, how it came to be, if you'd like. So the current owners of the winery, John and Catherine, purchased the winery in 1998. When they first started out, John was the winemaker, Catherine was handling the rest of the business. And Catherine went to John and said, try to make a wine out of Concord and Niagara, which are traditionally not wine grapes. So he said, are you kidding? We're going to get laughed out of the industry. They're not wine grapes. So he went ahead and listened to his wife and did it anyway, and took it to a festival. It sold out right away. So he said, beginner's luck, let me try again. He made another batch, went back, sold out right away again. So he said he had to do one of the most difficult things, which was go back and tell his wife that she was right and he was wrong, and Rebel Red came to be.
Might be difficult, but it's common.
Yes, yeah.
Now, it's funny that you mentioned Rebel Red. That's the connection that I was going to bring up to you. So I worked at a winery in Virginia for almost 10 years, the oldest operating winery down there. And we also had a wine called Rebel Red.
Oh, wow.
And did you ever have that where people would come up and say, I had a wine in Virginia called Rebel Red?
We have not, but it could have happened. I just may not have heard it.
Well, I can't tell you the amount of people that came in asking for Rebel Red, thinking it was the Adams County Winery's Rebel Red.
That's amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
It's amazing. What a tie-in.
And people would think it was the same kind, and we had to explain that's a little sweeter. This is going to be a drier wine. It's not the same wine. But it was just really unbelievable that two places, fairly close, not terribly far, both had a Rebel Red wine.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
That's great. And the reach of just how that name spread and how people even knew to ask for it there. That's amazing. Yeah.
How far does your wine distribution go? What's the farthest?
So we mainly distribute in Pennsylvania and Maryland, but we do ship all over the country. Just this past summer, we expanded the number of states that we ship to. So we're up to, I think, 41 states. So we had these two ladies. I was working at our Gettysburg wine shop this summer, and these two ladies came in and they said they were from Washington State. And I said, what brings you to the area? She said, you. And I said, well, what else? And she said, no, we drove from Washington State
to see Dan
to stock up on our wine.
Baumgartner.
Yeah. And I said, that's unbelievable. And I shouldn't have told them this, but 2 days before they made their trek, we started shipping to Washington State. So, but they said they didn't care. They had a great trip. And,
well, they were at that point, they're there.
Yeah, they're there, right? So I was blown away by that. Yep.
That's incredible.
And Adams County Winery, is that the fourth or fifth oldest winery in Pennsylvania?
Yeah. We are the fifth oldest operating in Pennsylvania, opened in 1975, so we are celebrating our 50th anniversary next year, which is great.
I don't know why I had heard, and I'm so glad that's not the case, I don't know why I had heard that Adams County Winery had been sold a few years ago.
No, it's been under the same ownership since 1998.
I'm glad to hear that, because anytime because obviously it was and is locally owned and operated, and there's that connection, and you fear that when someone comes in, a company comes in and buys it up, it's going to change and
absolutely
going to go regional or national or whatever. It takes away that charm, or it can. So I'm very, when you said that the original owners still have it, I was very happy to hear that.
Well, good. I'm happy we could straighten that out too. That's great. Yep.
So walk me through, Dan. I walk into Adams County Winery. Do you offer tastings?
Yeah, so we do flights, which is great. It gives you the flexibility. You get to pick your 4 wines. You get to go out in our beautiful gardens or indoor heated pavilion if it's cold outside and just enjoy that wine. No reservations are necessary. One of my favorite things is, of course, they're not allowed in the tasting room, but people can bring their pets along with them to sit outside, which, I know my wife and I, our pet is our kid, so we want to take them everywhere. So it's nice to offer that.
Your flights, is it like you just pick 4 out of all of them, or is there like a sweet flight, a dry flight?
So we understand that there might be people who come in that are kind of intimidated. I don't know what to pick. So we do have set flights, like a sweet, a dry, and then our specialty wines, which are going to be mostly seasonal, and fruit wines, things like that. But we also allow people to pick from the entire list if they like and do a custom flight. So a few options for them.
Can you order food, or what's the food policy?
So yeah, of course you have wine, you got to have some food, right? So we have our Terrace Bistro, which features a wood-fired pizza oven. It's amazing. You get that nice wood smoke flavor in there. So we are nearing the end of the season for that, but we have advertised that the last weekend is this coming weekend for the bistro. It's open 11 to 4 Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but I took a peek at the weather for next weekend, and it looks like we're going to be able to extend that another weekend because it's not going to be so cold. So
I think one of the burning questions that I think Katie had and I had was, why in the world didn't you bring wine?
That was everybody had that question in the office.
I was on my way here, and I thought, Maybe I should have brought some wine, but it was too late at that
We've
point.
never had
yeah.
Rebel Red. We've never had your wine.
You haven't had well,
I've had.
No, absolutely have. Yes. Yeah,
so we'll have to fix that.
Yeah, my
right?
wife and I used to come up. We frequented. I mean,
that's
almost
great.
weekly. She got me started on wine in general,
Sure.
and then certainly Rebel Red was the first one that she recommended. She was, I believe, the Tears of Gettysburg.
Yes, Tears of Gettysburg.
Or is it Rusty's Red?
We do have Rusty. Well, you're good. Rusty's Red.
Both of those, and then the Blackberry was one that I really liked. As you can tell, opposites here. I go for sweeter. Absolutely, yeah, I love that.
I remember thinking that you really made an impact on this guy because he wasn't a drinker, and to drink wine was just not anything. That was not his forte at all. And I moved to Virginia, and I came up to visit one time, and he said, "We have to go to Adams County Winery. That's where we have to go." And I thought, wow, they're going to blow me away.
Well, I barely got the words out, and she goes, "I'm in. Let's go." She was already in the car. Engine started. Yep.
You really twisted her arm on that.
Oh
one.
yeah,
it took a lot.
That's really hard to do for sure.
Yeah.
Now, this might be, I don't know how to word this question exactly, but what makes this soil in Gettysburg unique or different for grape growing in that region?
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of science that goes into that. Obviously, there's micronutrients in the soil. There's all these things, but if anyone's ever driven through our area, you see apple orchards and peach orchards and vineyards. So I mean, we are in the fruit belt of South Central Pennsylvania, and I think what makes our vineyards so special is that when the vines were planted in, I think it was right around 1974, 1975. The original vines, they were faced on a east-facing slope, so you get the morning sun, but it's not the real intense sun. Water can drain down the hill, so I mean it allows for good drainage. You don't get the too much moisture in the soil there. So for us specifically, that really does help.
What is your favorite? What's your personal favorite?
Oh boy, I'll give you two because it's hard to pick one.
Depends on the day.
It depends on the day.
Sure.
But like a lot of people, I started out sweet, and after a few months of being at the winery, I prefer dry. It's just funny. We see a lot of people go through that. But my favorite sweet wine we have, it's actually a semi-sweet. It's called Stray Cat Strut. It's made with the Catawba grape. It's a little tart, little sweet, very refreshing in the summertime. As we head into winter, I love our dry red. It's the red blend Harvest Blend is the name. Features Cabernet Sauvignon, Chambourcin, and Lemberger grapes.
I love Chambourcin.
Yeah, so it's great. And our Cab Sauv vines are actually over 25 years old, so they're really producing some nice grapes.
So your varietals, you have Cab Sauv, Chambourcin. What are the other ones that you said?
The other red is Lemberger, and then in the whites we grow Vidal and Saval.
Oh, those are very good varietals.
Yeah, they grow great around here.
No Gewürztraminer?
No Gewürztraminer. No, we can't claim that one. We'll look into that.
I do love a Viognier.
Oh yes,
I do love a really nice dry Viognier.
Yeah. I love saying Gewürztraminer because it's the most fancy sounding, weird. But I learned that I know exactly where I was when I learned that. Was we went up to Seneca Lake, my wife and I. We did the Polar Passport, so it was around winter time. The very first winery we stopped at the southeast end of Seneca Lake at Watkins Glen, that area. We were the only two people in there, short of one other couple, and they were getting ready to leave. So we were talking to the person serving us, and we just got to chatting with the other couple, and they said, "Oh, where are you from?" And we said, "Waynesboro, Pennsylvania." This other couple was from Waynesboro as well.
Wow.
So the first words out of their mouth were, "Have you ever been to Adams County Winery?"
That's amazing. I love that.
Yes, of course we've been. What kind of question is that?
That's great.
Yeah, it's so Adams County is quite famous, Adams County Winery, and not to mention the rich historic, the area itself. My goodness, it's a beautiful area. So you can really do a lot in a weekend with getting Adams County Winery and then touring the battlefields of Gettysburg.
Absolutely.
And what I think a lot of people might not know is that, and you already mentioned this, you have a store basically on the square in Gettysburg.
Yeah, a block off the square. We do a lot of great things there. We make wine sorbet, which it's getting a little colder, but it's still great year round. We have that. We're also featuring mulled wine right now, so the warmed up mulled wine. Yep, so great for this time of the year.
When you also have your seasonal is apple pie. Is that new this year?
Apple pie, and then so that is our newest seasonal. Great to warm up. You can add the little mulling spices in there. I mean, it's phenomenal. The smell is amazing too. It makes the whole house smell cozy, like great for the holidays. We also have a new seasonal that we're bringing out November 23rd. It's called Visions of Sugar Plum. So it's a sweet red blend with sugar or plum added. which is great. And then we're releasing the Gettysburg Christmas White and the Gettysburg Christmas Red, which are the official wines of the Gettysburg Christmas movie that came out last year. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so during that event on November 23rd, we'll have Bo Brinkman, the writer, producer, director of the movie there, signing bottles. I think he's going to be there from 11 until 2. We'll also have music, a string band, I think it's called Blythe Spirits, will be playing some string instruments, and then we'll have Vintage Crew coming on from 1 to 4 to continue the music throughout the day. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Is that a free event, or do you need reservations or tickets to that?
No reservations are needed. Just stop by, and yeah, it's going to be a great day. We're really looking forward to that one.
Love it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us and talking wine, one of my favorite topics.
Yep. And we'll see you
pleasure.
next week and every week after, and then just make sure you bring the the special wines. We'd be happy to feature them right here.
I'll remember that. I'll remember that. Yeah. All right.
Really nice right here on the middle.
That's true. That would
wines,
have. Yeah.
Maybe we can come, and I do mean this genuinely. Maybe we can come and do something on site at Adams County.
That'd be great. We'd love to have you.
Take a tour. And
absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
been a while
very
since
nice,
I've been there. I'd love to come back up and experience the wines. We had a great time when we were there. So.
Well, yeah, love to have you, and come on out, give you a tour, and show you around.
Well, thanks, Dan.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's going to wrap up Let's Talk Tri-State today, and it is all powered by DRB Group, the right partner for your real estate development. Have a wonderful weekend.
Sunday, January 26th, it's the Tri-State Bridal Show at Valley Mall, Hagerstown. This is the ultimate showcase for area bridal professionals, local bakers, photographers, caterers, DJs, travel planners, bands, venues. You'll want to meet the brides-to-be. Make sure you're at the top of their list by being a vendor in the 2025 Tri-State Bridal Show at Valley Mall, Hagerstown, Sunday, January 26th. Visit bestofthetristate.com for vendor information today.
Lizzie's Restaurant on Buchanan Trail West is open 7 days a week for takeout and dine-in service. Get your taste buds ready because their caramel apple sundae is back. Vanilla soft serve with 2 fried apple pie pieces, topped with caramel sauce, cinnamon-infused whipped cream, and a cherry, of course. Yum! Open 7 days a week for dine-in, takeout, and local delivery. Be sure to follow Lizzie's on Facebook for the latest info and specials. Lizzie's, the way you like it.
Real quick, raise your hand if you want to lose an additional 4 bands a year. Go ahead and put your hands up. Put your hands up. You voted for Kamala Harris. Oh, okay. My fault. Good, because I don't think people understand that voting for Trump means you will lose an additional 4